There we go. Now I'm not a mute. Howdy, friends and floorheads. It is Sunday afternoon. That means it is time to play Mothership. It's been almost a month, but we are back, and I think we should just jump right in. So, when we last left you, you were in this control center on level D, and you had a whole bunch of screens up, and one at a time, certain screens turned black, and you quickly figured out these were all the screens that were showing you level E, which you believe to be the bottom level of this red tower building. On the table, we have Dean, who just got some medical attention from Frankie. He is groggy, has not really said anything. His eyes are kind of fluttering. And as the camera pans out, we see Arlo and Watts in front of the control center. We see Frankie and the Major by Dean, and both Frankie and the Major are covered in guts and blood from these monsters that they fought on the level above.
Frankie's slowly peeling what remnants of leftover armor that was half sheared off of him from the monsters. Slowly picking them off, looking at Dean like, you mother. Picking them off. Arlo, what the hell happened up here?
Nothing. We're fine. Just ignore the corpse on the ground.
What corpse? For what happened here? Like, Mr. Watts?
That
Can
would be
you
the
give
incidents
us
to
a
which I was
status?
referring earlier. We had an apparent survivor come up through the elevator, but it turned out to be one of the creatures that's inhabiting the place. But it's taken care of, so.
Good job, I guess. The downside of all this is that they can pretend being humans or humanoid.
Yeah.
We learned
Yeah,
that. Yeah.
It seems they are getting on us closer and closer. So the more we linger here, the more of these monsters are getting on top of us, I believe. So
Yeah, at this point, I would assume that anything other than us is one of these things, whether it's communicating or not.
I mean, can they pose as an android, by the way?
We haven't seen one yet, but I guess maybe we'll find out.
Mr. Watts, can you give us a proof that you're still an android? Just it should be easy for you, right?
Can you give me proof that you're still a human?
Well, I have all the flesh
You
of
left
it
the
on
room.
me, and you will never know, but we don't know if it can pose as an android, right?
Okay. I open up a panel or something on my arm that has a diagnostics screen
Maintenance
with
head.
green blinking lights and no apparent screen for text or anything, so it's unclear how you're supposed to get any data from it.
Arlo's carefully looking at the creases in the Major's head, just making sure that nothing's splitting open.
What, Mr. Waits? Do you need help with anything, or
No, it's fine. You look
Okay.
like you're fine. And he looks over to Frankie as well. You too. We're all good, right?
How's Dean doing?
So his eyes start to flutter open, and he's like, what happened?
Didn't? What's the last thing you remember?
It's foggy. We were in a building, and there's stuff on the walls, and then you guys went into like a bunker or something, or barracks, and I was on the couch, and I don't know, and then there's just you two came in and there was people, I didn't know who they were. They tied me up and then they turned into these monsters and then you killed them and then I passed out again and oh, I um I think I want to go home.
Yeah, Dean. That's our target now. So we need to get you and everybody from our group out of here. It seems that the distress call was some kind of a trap or some kind of a dead distress call that is not relevant for this mission. So our target is to get out of here. It seems that there might be a ship waiting for us on the, let's say, other side of this facility. We've mapped the progress out, so our target is to get to the reactor, assess the
Blow up the
situation
planet.
there, and potentially blow up the planet. Yes, but mainly get
Blow-
out of the station.
Blow up the plant. What will that do to Beggar's Moon? All my friends and family are there, and you're if you blow up the
Aren't all your
planet,
friends and family dead?
oh God, I guess the monsters, the spider bugs.
Yeah,
Oh,
so
God.
no need to worry about the moon.
I think I'm gonna sleep for a second. He closes
Dean,
his
we
eyes.
will. Okay.
All right.
I
Is
guess it's
there any noticeable blood on Frankie that's coming, or not Frankie, on Dean?
He
from,
had
like,
his
maybe a
wound
stin pack or
on the back.
injection?
Yeah.
No, just where you guys gave him some first aid on his back. You gave him the stim pack to kind of stabilize him, and then you spent some time on it. You guys failed that first aid roll, but we said you're gonna get what needs to be done. So it didn't restore any health, but it basically stopped him from dying.
Was there any blood that might have come from that injection point to see if there was red blood or black blood?
It was.
Well,
yeah,
you guys
it-
saw plenty of human red blood. Yeah.
Okay, I don't want to get zippered by this guy.
Yeah. When Dean closes his eyes after a few moments, Arlo is going to get his med scanner and just quietly, from a safe distance, start beep booping and seeing if there's anything strange about him.
No, everything comes up normal. He seems stable. Maybe should get a little more iron in his blood, but other than that, he's pretty good.
Oh, okay.
Vitamin D.
Dean, we should be on our way ASAP. So basically, what we need to prepare, let's do it now. Let's map our progress, and let's go to level E and see how we can blow up this planet and get out of here.
And if you remember, Watts had locked down everything. He locked down every elevator, locked down every door. But Watts, whether you're in this control room or not, I'm going to have the map stored in your memory, so you'll be able to very easily direct people to the elevator that takes you down to level E, and then once there, take them directly to where this the nuclear fusion area is.
Perfect.
I think you guys that's where you're headed, right?
Can I open the doors between us and there? Like
You
just
can.
all along our path? Okay.
Yep.
I'm gonna do that. When we're
Can
ready,
you
I'm
do
gonna
it
do that.
one by one once we're down, like remote, or do you have to
No.
open everything now?
You'd have to do it here.
I don't.
Okay, me and Mr. Belfoy will have to be the spearhead of this operation. We will shoot anything that we will see. We will not trust anyone that we could potentially meet. Probably we will shoot on sight. Is that clear, Mr. Belfoy? I don't want to take
Affirmative.
any chances. So our target is to get out of here. I will need to ask you, Mr. Mr. Waits, could you take care of Dean on the way to level E and to the ship?
Sure. Yeah, that sounds perfectly fine. Let me just drag this sleeping corpse along so we can
Sleep.
go blow up a planet.
It's not
We'll wake him up.
just take care of him. If you want, we could switch. I could give you my weapon. You can go up front and you can shoot the bad guys, and I will babysit Dean. Is that better for you? Yeah, I thought so. So
Yeah, no.
okay. Okay, let's open the door. Let's reload our weapons, and let's go ahead.
Major, real quick, let's can we quick scan here, see if there's any armor or any kind of padding, anything I can use to recover some of my armor here.
Yeah, are there any Defiant corpses nearby?
No, they were all upstairs.
What is Arlo and Watts wearing?
I have the.
No, I'm not going to take your armor.
It wouldn't fit.
Oh, what's that supposed to? Oh, I'm a little guy anyway, so it's littler. Okay. All right.
So I nudge Dean, and if he wakes up, I hand him my scalpel to arm himself.
So you hand him the and you can see him trying with his hand, and it just fumbles out of his hand and falls to the ground.
Okay, I reach down, pick it up. Let's try this again. Okay, let's we need a little bit of guidance here. Come on, both
So
hands.
Yeah. So he okay. I don't think I can walk.
I look over to Major when he says that. You hear that?
I think you can.
Yeah, you're gonna just have to help him, right, Mr. Waits? Just a little bit. Walk with him forward. We just need to escape. Dean was the one who saved us from the moon, so that's the least we can do, can't we?
So he needed a 30 on his body save in order to be able to walk on his own, and he cannot.
Do we
will
have
say that
any stimulants?
he could walk with help, right? So like, over a shoulder type, side by side.
Yeah, that's what I do. I put my arm around him, have him put his arm around me, and slowly pick him up.
He
Thrilled
slides off-
about it.
Yeah, he slides off the table. He's walking with you. You kind of practice a little bit around and stuff, and he's definitely going to slow things down, but he seems okay. But you could tell, Arlo, that if you were to let go of him, he would just fall.
Okay. Yeah, I'm like, all right, buddy, left foot, right foot, as I'm like reaching for my stun baton in my open hand. Here we go.
Okay. Can you hold this? He tries to give you back the scalpel.
Uh-huh.
Do we have any
I
stimulants or
apologize.
anything that we could give him?
I mean, you could give him another
Adrenaline?
stim pack if you want.
Yeah, I'll give him a stim pack.
All right. I think what is it? Roll a d10, I think, to see how many wounds it.
No, it's not letting me roll.
Or
Yeah.
2d10. Yep. So just roll 2d10.
Boop, boop.
All right, that'll give him another 15 health. He's alert now, and and just some blood comes out as he coughs, and his eyes are open. His legs are still pretty weak, Arlo. You're still going to have to help him, but I don't think he doesn't appear like he's just going to fall right back to sleep.
Okay, with that sorted out, one question was we were discussing to prepare the detonator up ahead. Did we actually do that, or do we?
I
need to
believe we were
prepare
going
it?
to do that when we got to the core.
Yeah,
we-
there's no
we
way
need
to
be present.
remotely. Yeah, it appears that all of the kind of thing that they rigged to drop this core into this drilled hole that they made is all on level E.
We could set it on a timer, I believe.
Well, I still have the remote transmitter and wires that we pulled out of that funky closet where we killed the security guards, whatever.
Yeah.
So we might be able
That
to
sure
make
will
that
come in
function,
handy.
but
Okay.
so we'll see.
I believe there's nothing we can do here. Let's open the door and proceed to level E then, and to the core.
All right.
And we go the direction Mr. Watts guides us.
So we'll do a montage as you guys carefully work your way through the hallways. You get to the elevator for level E. Watts confidently hits the button, hits it again, and the doors open.
So, any of you guys ever destroy a planet before? Got any experience doing any of this? No? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I had a video game that did, but
Do we?
Frankie's going to step in slowly, looking top, bottom, maybe even try to open that elevator hatch just to see what's in that
Up above.
up above. Yes.
Yeah. So you pop up above and kind of maybe Major, you hoist him up a little bit and you peek around and the track lighting that goes up and down the thing. It takes you, and you remember you're at the top of this elevator, so you'll want to hold on. I got a spammer. Give me just a second. You pop open the top, you look, and you can tell that this is the top of the elevator, right? There's only about 8 feet above you till you see the top. You can see the track that runs down. It's got the lighting on it, but it appears there's nothing else there.
All right. Looks clear, guys.
Okay, let's proceed then, and hopefully we can get there safely and out of there.
There's 2 buttons up, one and down, one button up, one button down. You hit the down button, and slowly you can feel the elevator headed down to level E. As best as you can tell, Watts, by the map, you remember going down about 30, 40 feet, about 3 or 4 stories, and you reach level E.
Okay, everybody to the sides. No, nobody clear the stairs in the middle of the door. We will shout clear with Frankie. Once we shout that, you can proceed to the next room. We will do this one by one. So once we're on the sides with Frankie ready, with just a quick nod, we will confirm that we can proceed. Open the door.
So you open the door, and as Watts was ready for, you have kind of a large staging area and then a hallway that's directly across from the entrance of the elevator. Watts, you know that hallway takes you down to what was labeled as research lab. And then on the other side of the research lab is what you believe to be the main core area, where you've got the control panels that maintain the nuclear core. Also, according to the plans, there is where the jury rigged panels have been set up to drop the core on a timer. And then there's supposedly a ladder, a hatch and a ladder that takes you down about 10 feet to a tunnel where supposedly, though you never saw, but based on the communications that you picked up, supposedly there's supposed to be an APC there.
Okay, we continue with Frankie clearing up the area to get to this lab, and we regroup there, I presume. I will not lose time that much just to clear of anything that would be potentially dangerous. I'm not trying to search for anything. I'm trying to conserve be as efficient as possible.
You don't want to look in all the drawers.
I'm looking for
Find
dead
some more
bodies with
syringes.
armor. Let
So
me know
as
if
you
there's armor,
guys-
Craig.
You guys are working down the hallway towards this research lab. The air is the stalest of any of the air that you've breathed. You can tell how far down in levels you are at this point. Any semblance of the fresh air is long overdue. It's all recycled, and it smells and tastes like that. The walls have an aged grime all over them. There are parts of this hallway where you see blood just streaked, dried up against the wall. There's parts where you see kind of this green tendril type blood, old and creased up against the wall. You guys work your way down that hallway, though, carefully. Dean being held by Arlo over his shoulder. Frankie and Major in the front, then Watts, and then Arlo a bit behind them. The hallway's wide enough that you guys can go 2 by 2. And you get to a door that's clearly labeled Research Lab, which Watts told you is up next.
Mr. Watts, is there anything volatile in this lab? Like, if we start shooting anything we see, is there a risk of explosion? I don't know how these labs are working, but better safe than sorry before we start tossing grenades around.
It's likely that any volatile materials have gone inert in the amount of time they've been sitting here. But Craig, is there anything to be concerned about?
The only thing that you saw on the camera, you did not get a full view of this room, but what you saw on the camera was very similar to, it was not the same, but similar to the lab where you guys were before. I think I was on level C where Arlo found his notebook. Tables, there was just broken equipment, some consoles. There was no dirt pile in the middle like there was on that lab.
Negative.
By the way, I forgot one maintenance. I will use one stim pack as well.
Oh, okay.
It
Go ahead and
makes
drop your stim pack by
sense.
1 and roll 2d10. That's going to do 2 things. It's going to increase your health by that amount. So that's 6. And then you can also do up your strength
14.
and combat by the same. And just do it on the
And I-
temporary side.
Yeah, +6. Okay. Okay, let's do this. Let's hit the door button and be ready to shoot anything that we see.
You hit the button. Door opens. Watts immediately, it's definitely the same room that you saw on the cameras, but it didn't look like it did in the cameras. Because in the cameras, it was not destroyed, but in poor shape. Most of the equipment was broken. There was, broken glass and stuff all over the place. This room is pristine. And the smell that fills your nostrils is immediately fresher than any of the air you smelled in the hallways. And as you look from where you are in the door, you see maybe that room that you were in on level C, but before. So it seems like all the equipment is there. You can see where there's testing of liquids happening, test soil samples that are organized and sectioned off on tops of the tables. There's a large table in the center where you can see all kinds of books and things stacked up, and a large like whiteboard where you can see equations that are written all over them.
So is this the same room?
It is not. So it's a similar room, but not the
Okay.
same. But it is size and shape, and where these tables are, Watch, you can tell it was the room that you saw in the camera.
Okay.
And
Well,
as you take that all in, though, what really is different, and immediately I think, especially for the Major and Frankie, makes them give pause, is the back of a person who's in some sort of yellow hazmat suit and seems to be focused on the table across from the room. And that person turns around and has kind of a plexiglass face covering that's clear. Frankie and the Major don't recognize her. Watts and Arlo do. It's the same woman that came up from the elevator, from below the elevator before. And immediately she goes, "Oh, Dr. Waits, I didn't think you were coming on shift for another hour. You're not going to believe, last night, Dr. Ortiz, I think he's figured this stuff out. Yeah, Private Frankie, Major Farrell, or Watts, none of you were supposed to be down here. It's only supposed to be
Destroy
the
her.
researchers."
Who are you? Identify yourself, pointing my gun at her, obviously, threatening.
Whoa, hey. What do you mean, who am I?
Nothing in this room is to be trusted.
Sarah Johnson, Dr. Waits, I wanted to show you what I was picking up from the soil samples. Is everybody okay?
Yeah, Dr. Waits, is everybody okay?
Do you think I'm okay right now? I have no idea what's going on. 5 minutes ago, before you stepped in covered in guts, this lady was walking on all fours backwards. We saw her head split open. And now we're seeing all this? I have no idea. What do you want to do?
Did you, Dr. Waits, when's the last time you had a psych eval?
That's a good question.
This
She's got
creature
her
is
hands
not
up.
a human.
She's frozen, scared to death. And you guys should all be in hazmat suits. We don't know what's down here. We haven't studied everything here yet. This isn't safe.
Is this the way to the reactor and to the escape road to the APC?
APC? I mean, yeah, the reactors, and she points to the door. It's down there, but like really, you guys should you guys really, Dr. Waits, tell them that they shouldn't be doing this. This isn't safe. Vaslav, we lost your camera. Or did we lose
Yeah,
all of-
yeah. Putting it back together.
Okay.
Okay, this must be another time anomaly. It seems that we're walking back and forth, and we're trying to. What a mess. Okay, can you? How do we do this? Please proceed. Go to the corner, and I will point to some corner so we can go to the bench and to the PC or to the terminals for the equipment. Proceed with our plan. Guys, let's try to ignore the situation. Let's leave her in the corner at the gunpoint. This will fade away as all the time anomalies that were before. I don't
Quick
care.
question:
We have our job.
Are we still planning on blowing this planet up?
Blow the planet up.
I look at Arlo like, not Arlo. Yeah, Arlo.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
thought you
just
said-
shrug at that point. I'm like, what is happening?
Because if you're concerned about saving her life, then I think we should reconsider that part.
Dr. Waits, what's going on?
What is going on? What day
Have
is
you
it for
talked-
you?
Did you talk to Dr. Ortiz yet today?
No, not today. Where can we
was
find
looking
him?
for you. He said he thinks he understands a lot of what's been happening, and he left, I don't know, half an hour ago looking for you. And
Did he go up or down?
there's no down. He obviously went up. You're staying on. You're in the barracks in level C, right? Like what?
Is she moving into the corner like Major asked her to?
Mr. Waits,
She's
can you please
frozen.
check? Can you
She's
please
just-
check the corridor that we came from and verify that it's in the previous state as we left it, or if we fully moved to some different time and space?
Dean,
What
can you?
what are we checking? I'm sorry.
I want Mr. Waits to check if the previous corridor also shifted.
Why don't I'll do that? Why doesn't Arlo scan her with his med scanner?
I think Arlo wants to check that corridor. I'm pretty sure. Go there
Oh,
with
okay.
Dean and check it.
I look to Dean. Dean, what would you like to do? And
I want to go home.
can you just, if there's a table like real close
Yeah.
nearby, I'd like to have him lean up against it. And it's like, okay, Major, what am I checking out? And I turn around.
Yeah, I give a look to Frankie and just give him a nod, and I will shoot right in the head. Just kill her out cold, or it.
I'm not seeing anything, Major.
So Arlo, you look down the hallway, and you it's the hallway you just left, right? But there is a distinct change in conditions as you from the barrier, right? And then you hear a and you turn around and you see this researcher on the ground, hole through the plexiglass, and just her face covered in blood.
Red blood?
Yes.
Yikes. Okay, we need to proceed. We can't be losing time, or more of these could appear. Mr. Watts, you're on mute, Dizzy.
This room is only as real as the one upstairs with Brett was. So as soon as we leave, all of this is going to disappear, including her.
Definitely. I'm pretty
Is there
sure that
anything of
it
note
will
in here that
happen.
we can quick grab while we're passing through? Is there anything?
I want to know what Arlo's thinking. He hears
Ah.
the gunshot.
Uh, honestly, Arlo's thoughts are blank at this point. There's just been so much going on, and at this point, he's not even instinct is working at this point. It's basic motor functions and just following along the way. Heart beating very fast.
So, Arlo, you come back into the room. Everybody's kind of working their way forward towards the door. Her body is off to the left, to the right of the door. She's slouched, no motion, no anything. Blood splattered on the inside of that plexiglass, except for where the gun, the bullet went through. Arlo, you do, just looking things over, you do notice your leather notebook on one of the tables.
Another one? Great. Okay. Dean, you hanging tight, and I carefully tiptoe over there, avoiding any blood on the ground, ideally. And I pick up another notebook of mine.
Okay, you grab it.
And I guess I take the other one out and I compare the two real quick as everyone else is doing other things.
So they're identical, except the one you just picked up has maybe 2/3 less pages filled out.
Okay. Has anyone noticed that this is what I'm doing? Anyone have my back turned to them? So at this point, I just quietly pocket both of them. I was like, "All right, Dean, we gotta keep going. Gotta, whew. All right, here we go."
And he puts his arm back around you. You get his arm around him, and you guys now are working towards the door. And it's about 30-40 feet between one door to the other. As you, all of you kind of move past midway in the door, there's like a dizziness, like a fogginess, right? Like, you know, how you just, when you just wake up and, you know, you're trying to figure out, like, maybe you just came out of a very vivid dream, and, you know, those like 2 seconds where you're piecing together, oh, I was dreaming, and now I just woke up. I'm not really, you know, naked in front of the classroom, you know, for my book report, right? Like that moment where you're just trying to piece it all together. It happens to all 4 of you, including Watts. And it causes all of you to kind of blink your eyes. And as you do, the room is similar, Watts, to what you saw on the screen. But it's not exactly. It's in worse shape than what you saw on the screen. The door where you were headed has now been barricaded. There's tables pushed up against it, jammed up there, equipment consoles pushed into that door. You guys, one of you turns around immediately, sees the same situation on the other door you just came through, also barricaded. And there's a huge mound of dirt in the center of the room.
Do we guess the shape of the dirt?
You know the shape of the dirt. It's about 8 feet tall.
Is there a body?
Yeah, I was gonna ask.
There
the
is no
same.
body.
Has Major discharged a bullet from his gun?
I guess you can. You're asking out loud, so I will. Major
Yeah.
will check and see if.
Yeah.
Well, I've definitely shot from this gun. When I look at the corner or to the side where I've shot the lady, is there a like bullet hole at least, or anything that would resemble? Yeah, it seems that that was one of these hallucinations after all. So, is there? So in this lab, there is the terminal that you need to work on, or we need to get next to the reactor core, meaning through this barricaded.
I think the terminal that we're going to work on the core from is going to be either in that room or in the adjacent room. So maybe we should work on undoing this barricade that's in our way.
Okay, Mr. Beaufoy, let's not linger anymore. Let's move these things out of the way and try to get through. I'm
Affirmative.
not sure if I will try to ignore the pile of dirt that is there just to walk.
I do want a quick sand save
Yeah.
for all.
Oh, are we not going to skip over
Nah.
that?
I think.
Okay.
I mean, you've experienced temporal stuff, but this is the first time it's happened in real time. So major.
No way.
Yeah.
Can I use my 1 point of luck or something?
And for each failed save, let's add
Hey.
one to your stress sanity.
Oh,
Ooh,
good.
crit! I need a D6 from you, Arlo.
That makes sense.
It does.
All right,
And
go ahead
so-
and add 4 for me.
And
For
I have
stress,
this thing,
right?
whenever a nearby crew member fails a save, I gain 1 stress. So did we all fail?
I succeeded.
So I get +1
Should
for
be
my
nice.
fail and +2 for the other 2. So I'm on 14 now.
Yeah, I also gain 1 from that, so I'm at 16 all day. So Arlo's eyes are
Inflated.
going
Okay.
back and forth between this pile of dirt and the back of Major's head. Suddenly not really trusting him or the situation because he was just essentially lied to turn around and have this woman shot.
But she wasn't real.
Wasn't she? I mean, is any of this real?
Probably not.
Yeah, Arlo's in La La Land right now.
So we're just working on the
Yeah.
barrier.
Is there a terminal in here like there was in the other research lab that I could
It
take a
is,
look
but
at?
it's just destroyed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then yeah.
Yeah, I think we need all hands that we could use for to get this barricade out. I imagine it's quite a lot of stuff there. It could take us a while to move them away to proceed through the door.
Yeah. Craig, real quick on the stim pack usage. I had 8 hours of stim pack buff on me. How much time would be left from when we had that last fight? I imagine it's not much time between then and now.
No, it's maybe 45 minutes tops.
Okay. And Vaslav, did you roll for the amount of strength in combat?
Yeah, 2d10, I
2d10.
rolled 6.
Was that but you heal that much and then you roll again and then you roll a d10, single d10
I just
for
used
the
the
amount
same
of hours?
number for all of them.
The
you
D10
did.
is for
Okay.
the amount of time that it lasts, I think.
Yeah. So I didn't know if we did that right or
And
Maybe
you're
for
asking
future
how long
builds.
Vaslav's bonus is going to last, right?
yeah,
Because
it's
that's 1d10.
d10.
Can we eyeball it? Okay, I will roll 1d10.
May not
10
matter.
hours,
Oh,
I guess.
perfect.
Long enough.
So, all right. So yeah, start shoveling crap off the up against the wall, moving it off, trying to get to the door.
I might poke at the pile of dirt a little bit just to see what the construction underneath is. If it's another
think
rock or if it's something else.
Something else I think I'm going to do with that crit is what is your stress right now, Arlo?
16, but that's previous to the roll, or that's future roll. So if you're modifying anything about the roll, I need to adjust.
I think I'm going to actually have you do a panic check.
Oh, okay, perfect, wonderful.
So you roll a d20, and you want to roll over what your current stress is.
Or as low as possible, right? It's like,
No, you want to roll high.
oh, still high even. Okay.
All right.
Okay, so that'll be a fail.
Yep.
But for the next 24 hours, Arlo, whenever you encounter a stranger or a known enemy, you must make a sanity save or immediately attack them.
Well, that's fine.
How fitting.
You have picked
That
up
is
death
very
wish.
fitting. Yeah.
How fitting this is.
That's probably in our best interest anyway.
So I know Frankie and the Major are trying to clear away this barricade, which is going to take maybe 10 minutes as you work through it. What are Watts and Arlo doing during this time?
I'm going to poke at the pile of dirt a little bit just to see what structure underneath is. If it's rock like it was in the other research lab or if it's something else.
So as you go to this, pick up a piece of steel or something like that and just kind of jam it in there. It's very similar to what you encountered at the other location. And as everybody's kind of, you're messing with that, Frankie and the Major are trying to clear the barricade that's going to, we think, head you towards the control center for the nuclear reactor. Arlo, what are you doing other than having a death wish?
Yeah, so Dean at this point is against the table again, and I'm helping the Major and Frankie with the barricade, but extremely slowly in comparison, because now with this new effect, I'm starting to realize that despite the Major leading me on, he made the right choice, and I kind of hate him for it. So um, I'm just in deep thought as this is all happening.
So watch your testing this mound as you hear the guys, pulling down tables as they pull stuff away and to get to the door itself. All of you smell sulfur. And it's almost overwhelming. And watch you look up, and emerging from the top of this mound is this serpentile looking thing, like a worm type thing. And you would venture to guess maybe as big around as a basketball in breadth. And it starts to move up. The head looks like kind of a leech. So it's big and round. It ends with just these ridged teeth, and as it emerges, it's coming out, and there's like these leathery, semi-transparent wings that are right behind its neck area as it starts coming up.
Major,
how far are we digging through the? Like, are we?
You've got another 5 minutes at least.
I'll switch with you.
Yeah, I start shooting. It doesn't need any comment. I just shoot it in its ugly mug.
Okay, so let me get some speed checks here. Let's figure out what our initiative order is going to be. Who's going first? Who's going before the monster? Who's going after the monster?
Did we have any bonus for the
fuck's
speed? Just roll it.
Frankie's still moving stuff while gunshots are
Hey,
firing.
Arlo's on
the
top
only
of it.
person who's got his stuff together is Arlo. Arlo,
No,
with
why?
a
Because he has to
death
attack
wish,
it.
whenever you encounter a stranger or a known enemy, you must make a sanity save or immediately attack them. Can I get that sanity save?
Yeah.
Let me at him.
Oh yeah.
You
Thank God.
succeed. But initiative-wise, you're the only one that gets to go before the monster.
Yeah, so maybe I hear it first or something, because I'm in such deep thought, that slithering sound. And based on what has happened, I know exactly where my nail gun is right now for the first time, and I reach out and I point and shoot, aiming for the head.
Very, very nice. All right, so let's go ahead and click on the gun.
No, it's not 9. It's the other way around.
So nail guns, we see as it comes, and the nails come flying past this worm. It's now emerged completely from outside of this mound, and it has to be at least 5-6 feet tall. And though it has these like leathery wings, they're flapping like this, right? And the way it moves, it's almost like it's underwater. And it's going to come down for you, Watts. That is a success. Give me a body save. All right. I need you to take 8 points of damage. What is your armor?
It is 7, so that will go away.
So your armor's
and I'll be
toast. You
down
go ahead and
to-
take 1 point of damage.
Yes.
At least you didn't give it to Frankie.
So Watts, I want you to imagine you looking up. This thing comes up. You go, "Hey guys!" You see the nail gun, fire off from Arlo, which is probably the last thing you expected, if anything, in the room. And this thing now is coming down to you. It's gonna destroy your armor and do 1 point of damage, but I need to understand how.
So how its mouth is roughly basketball sized.
About the size of a basketball. Yep, and it's just all like a leech, just ridged teeth.
Yeah, it probably just grabs onto the shoulder plating and just destroys all the connectors there. So it's probably holding the armor on as long as it's clenched, but as soon as it lets go, the armor's gonna like slough off.
All of you see Arlo shooting, Frankie and Major, you're clearing this off. You turn around and you just see this thing attached to Watts' shoulder with its tail just like this as it's trying to move its way deeper, pushing down on Watts. Now all of you get to go. Who wants to go first?
Major will
It's still-
unleash, and let's see where that takes us.
Is it
right?
is it still grappled to me?
It is.
Okay.
When shooting, do we get a disadvantage when it's kind of engagement? Nothing like that.
No, but it'd be good not to crit fail it.
Why don't I go first?
Okay. Go ahead.
And try to pull out my vibe shetty and just swing up at it.
So you get two actions. So the one will be to draw the shetty, and then you're going to go ahead and give it a swing. So let's do it.
Yeah. Oh, it didn't work. How are we doing this when it didn't work? Let me just refresh.
Yeah. If it's popped out, it might not work.
I don't usually pop the.
Okay.
So just to be clear visually, Watts' back is to us, right? Like we don't have full view of like the whole 6 feet of this monster.
I mean,
Well,
it's
you
coming out
do.
of the top of a mound, so
Yeah, you do, because this whole 6 feet is above him, right? So this thing emerged up from this mound and immediately like snaked down. And the way this thing is moving is it's very like underwater, right? The way it just kind of floats. And like I said, it's got this, about 6 foot wingspan from behind its neck, but these wings aren't making it fly, right? It's just these leathery things. All right, so
I just did a standard, but that my combat's 41, so that's a fail.
okay. So you take the
Oh,
vibe
wait,
shedding,
that's-
you're swinging up there, and I think maybe the tail hits your hand, so the blade never makes contact with this worm. Frankie and the Major.
Let's shoot it. I will roll first, I guess. Oh,
You unload the gun. Bullets are flying. Watch, you can hear these bullets as they're flying. You've got nail guns getting shot at you. You've got the Major Farrell's hitting it. None of this is affecting or hitting this worm. Frankie?
Frankie's still high on adrenaline from murdering a bunch of these monsters earlier. Is gonna go back to memory of Conan the Barbarian when he grew up. He's grabbing that vibe shetty and he's just swinging and trying to hit a portion of the snake coming out that's above
Above Watts?
Arlo, of Watts. Yes, sorry, mixing your names up on here. So I'm going to do that. Close quarters, is that applicable here? All right, and then that tests strength. Is that right?
You should be able to just hit the vibe shedding.
Yeah, just hit the vibe shedding.
Right, but to use the skill, you got to plus something, right? If I use close quarters, it's going to add 15.
And you get plus something for Stimpack and plus 10 for 2 Marines.
Right. So I'm actually with plus 15 to, I'm at plus 25 right now.
So it'll automatically take whatever. What do you have to the right on your character sheet?
I have strength at plus 10 and combat plus 20 right now.
Okay. And how is that combat plus 20?
I get plus 10 for being next to or being a Marine, plus 10 for the stim pack, and then 15 for close quarters.
Okay.
So that would be up to 35 on the combat.
All right. Go ahead and put it in.
So vibe shetty goes through through combat, right?
Correct.
Okay. It's not rolling now for me either.
All right.
So I'll just
are you rolling the weapon or the combat directly?
The weapon.
You can try rolling combat maybe.
Give me 1 second. Let me see if I can fix this. Just give me just 1 second. This is riveting stuff here, right? Yeah, it did not roll. Let me just see. All right. I don't know why. So yeah, just roll it on your own.
Okay.
So D100.
So yeah, 48 plus 35, so 70.
That's 80 something.
3, yeah.
Yeah, target is
Passes.
76. So
So
you come
3D.
charging in, and in sheer panic, Frankie, you swing, and you swing too early. And before you actually are within range of this thing, you swing your blade down. Obviously doesn't hit Watts. We're
Actually, I
back
do
up-
hit it.
Oh, you
I
do?
have
Wait a minute.
yeah, my base combat's 48 plus the 35 now, so I'm swinging at like an 83
Mhm.
to succeed.
What is your mod?
35. 10 for Marine,
Right. Okay.
10
So
for
on
Stimpak,
here,
and
if
15 for close
I'm
quarters.
looking at the major. I'm sorry. I was
Alright.
looking at his failure. I apologize. Okay, so 78. So you hit this thing. So what's the damage on the
3d10
okay?
Plus
Plus
wounds.
wounds.
plus wounds.
All right, you're chopping this thing in half. Walk me through it. You come charging with your blade.
Yeah, I'm leaning into it like I'm only going to get one swing, and I'm just charging in and just right above Arlo's head or Watts' head.
Watts.
Sorry,
Second
Jesus.
time trying to kill me.
I know.
So, Frankie, you slice this thing, and the gore that comes out is very familiar. It's that green, like thick green molasses, and the tendrils that you guys saw with the other wounds are also there. So as this chops, you can see these tendrils kind of like snap and break from its guts, and the tail falls. Watch, you feel the weight of this thing as it loses, and it just hangs from you. The teeth are still built, into the armor, slightly piercing your skin as well. We go back to the top of the order to Arlo as the second one emerges.
Okay. So yeah, Arlo just goes ahead and continues shooting.
So the head starts to emerge from the top of the mound.
Yeah, as soon as the head pops out, he is shooting again.
Let's do it. Continuing to fire, missing from all over the place, this time not shooting anywhere near Watts. This thing pulls its way out and begins to float towards Arlo. Watts, Frankie, and the Major get to go.
Yeah, I mean, Major seeing how effective the Vibe Jetty is, he would sling the SMG back, take Vibe Jetty, and try to charge it. I don't know if I can reach it in one round, but that's
Yeah, you can.
that's
Yeah,
my-
I'll let you get there. So go ahead and swing the Vibe Chetty. It probably is not going to work. So just roll the D100.
I will just try.
It's in the
yeah.
Major's hands. I'm not the one using it. I'm sure it'll be fine.
I believe Craig means forge, but yes.
All right.
Oh, 78 again, and I was on 76, so it misses, and I'm just slashing crazily all over. And when I turn, I think it's behind me, it's not there anymore, and it's just madness. Major is unleashing, not hitting, just training with the air.
All right. Watson, Frankie.
Frankie's just gonna swing back up and try to hit the second one coming out.
Ah! Let's go ahead and
And
roll
he's
it.
actually saying it just like that. He's pretending like he's a badass. So
Oh yeah,
70, and then 1, 2,
3d10.
3.
Yeah.
And a wound, right?
And
Yeah.
a wound.
Again, just as this thing starts emerging, it's floating towards Arlo, and just Frankie, just covered in the more green goo, came from the first one, just right midair, just slices through it, immediately just falls and breaks, and just makes this wet sound as it like in the slime it's coated in just falls to the ground.
Sound effects, brilliant. Love it.
When did Frankie become a badass? This is so silly.
There's a name for that maneuver in samurai swords play where you swing and swing back immediately. I can't remember it. Anyway, I'm left, and I'm going to say thank you, Frankie, and I'm going to go to the door while trying to shake the worm off my shoulder and work on the barricade as fast as possible. And I'm not trying to be neat about it. I'm just like shove shoving stuff
Yeah.
out of the way.
And it doesn't take too much force for you to kind of dislodge this thing, but to your point, DZ, it takes the armor with it, right? So you effectively
Oh, yeah.
have no armor. Watch starts pushing the tables away, just trying to clear those things. Major Frankie, what are you guys doing?
We go help him if there is no. Major waits a little bit if there's a third one or something, and if it doesn't seems like or doesn't hear anything, goes straight to the barricade and starts throwing things away as well.
Frankie's hovering over that mound with his sword, ready to hit the next one coming out.
Tense music the entire time. The camera going to the top of the mound, to Frankie and the Major, to Watts clearing it off. Arlo holding the gun like this, waiting for another one to emerge. Watts,
Reloading nails.
You clear the last table away.
Shall we?
Yeah, let's go for it. Frankie, cover our back. I will rush ahead first. I will run through. And we'll see what's ahead of us in that corridor or room.
Frankie's putting his vibe shady away and getting his gun in prep for range combat if it comes up.
Oh yeah, I'm switching as well.
Yeah.
Okay, so I know
Arlo
what Watts,
goes,
Frankie, and Major. Go ahead, Arlo.
Arlo just goes to help Dean, ranting
right.
about, maybe I should give you the nail gun, and starts slowly moving forward.
The door opens without any difficulty, and you head down the hallway. Now, this hallway goes for a good distance and then curves, and then there's a long decline that's ahead of you, Watts, kind of like a long ramp as it descends down into where the nuclear facility is. But as you anticipate, there is an office door to the left. And as when you get to it, and very clearly on the sign, it says, Dr. James Ortiz, Director of Research.
Director of Research.
I mean, we should probably take a peek.
Arlo certainly pauses at the door.
Just like, what do you expect to find here? We just need to get over with this and get out. I don't want any.
There may be pertinent information about the core in there.
Yeah, before you put a bullet in her head, she said that he had answers. Don't you want to know at least something before we nuke this place to hell?
Major's looking nervously around and looking to Frankie and back, and just he's more twitchy than he was before all of this, before the fight with Dean. It starts to get hold of him a little bit. Okay, but let's make it quick. We can't delay. We just need to get away from here.
Frankie will notice Major's hesitation and step forward and try to clear that room first and kind of give him a second to breathe. So Frankie will jump in front and slowly open that door, see what it is.
Yeah, and it's got kind of the latches that you've seen on a lot of the doors. It's not an electronic door, and it's not locked. So you hit the latch, Frankie, and you slowly open the door. And not really sure what you were anticipating, but this definitely isn't what you were anticipating. It's clearly an office. You see a desk, pretty good sized office, about 20 by 20. It's a mess, but not because it's old or it's been destroyed. It's disorganized. There's stacks of papers everywhere. There's a couple different whiteboards with all kinds of equations written on it. Behind the desk, there's a chair. And Frankie, as you're sweeping, looking up, looking down, ceilings about 10, 12 feet up, as all the ceilings were for the hallways, the research lab, sweeping, it appears to be empty.
All right, all clear, guys. Get in, get out.
Major is guarding, well, if I can say, guarding the door to entrance, so just peeks in a little bit, but like is looking into the corridor we walked in from, just to make sure that nobody is after us from that direction.
All right, let's go in and take a look for research materials or notebooks or a terminal or anything.
Yeah, I put Dean against the wall and say, "You hang in tight, bud." I start heading into the office.
Are we getting close to home?
Uh-huh. I I continue on.
So Arlo, you go in. It's not real clear what Dr. Ortiz was studying, but you see different things. You see references to soil samples, air sampling, reports on viability of hosting colonies, and they're in on the desk though. There's an obvious log book, and it is not labeled, and you flip it open, and the beginning pages tell quite a story. It's obvious that Dr. Ortiz was one of the first researchers that came to the planet. He was initially tasked, once this red tower was built, he was tasked to, immediately assess whether this planet was dangerous and whether it could harbor life, right? Whether you could sustain yourself based off of the vegetation and the soil, and could farming happen here, all kinds of things. And as you're flipping through these pages, reading it, you'll then notice references to distortions, he seems to call them, and talks about being out in the swamp area and encountering like visual distortions that would last for a very brief time and then go away. And as you're flipping through, he'll talks about the frequency of them, maybe them sometimes them showing up within the tower. Flipping through, very optimistic about the viability of this planet. Flipping through, mentions just kind of casually how some of the research staff that after the second wave arrived and had been here for about 6 months seemed to be fixated on taking some materials from that weren't being used to start building these statuettes. Something you're very familiar with. There's some sketches on there. And as you flip through, it gets really odd, Arlo, because as you start flipping the pages, you swear that the ink is appearing as you turn it. So it feels like when you flip the page, at first it's blank, but by the time you finish flipping it, it's not. Almost like these pages are filling as you turn the book pages. And you stop for a second and go back to the earlier pages, and they're still there, but they aren't what you saw when you first started at the beginning of the book. As you go back to the beginning of the book now, you see things scratched out. You see frenetic sketching of these mounds at the beginning of the book, which weren't there when you started reading the book. As you flip back to where you were before, there's more talk of these distortions, but without the frenetic sketching. As you flip back and forth, it feels like the frenetic sketching and the scribbling is catching up to where you are, but it's not there yet. You're flipping through the pages, and he thinks it's subatomic. These doorways are subatomic. He keeps talking about. I think it's tied. There's sulfur, and and he's flipping through, and you can see a sketch, very controlled, very distinct, of him wanting to create a handheld nuclear device. And you see it sketched out, and hoping that this will interact with these distortions and these mounds that people seem to be building. You guys are watching Arlo do this. And as he's flipping through the book, you look one way in the room, but when you look back, the equations that were on one of the whiteboards is now all just scratched up and cut, like someone took a knife to the whiteboard and scratched up. And there's drawings on the walls now of these shapes. Arlo's flipping through the book, and everything is incredibly disorienting. Think you're on mute, DZ.
Yeah, I grab Arlo's hand and stop him, like as like the music is intensifying and things are changing, like that jump scare where I just stop him in place and snap him out of it.
What are you? Take a look. Do you see what's
Yeah.
happening?
No, I see what's happening.
And Arlo, you point to the page which before had the sketch of this thing, right? And now when you point to it, scribbled in different sizes over and over again on top of each other is, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Sometimes big letters, sometimes small letters. It fills the entire page to the point where you can't see what he had drawn below it.
I gotta jot some of this stuff down. He had some information about a device.
I don't
and
think
get
you
the
need to jot
second-
any of this down.
I get the second journal out, and I open up, and I try to.
No. I am either taking your pen or slapping it out of your hand or something. Like, I changed my mind. We should move on and continue to
Aren't
the
we
board.
trying to blow this place up? Doesn't a mobile nuclear device sound like something we would want?
We already have a nuclear device capable of doing what we want.
Plan B?
We'll come back
What is
for
Frankie
it.
the
if we
Major
need a
doing
plan B.
as this argument is happening?
Well, what is happening over there? I thought you just take a quick peek and then we go. Like, what is all this arguing? And just
We're
Just need a
going-
minute.
minute for
Frankie's
what
not
exactly?
reacting.
You can't possibly think that this is a good idea, Mr. Waits.
I'm just enamored by what's happening in front of me.
Speaking of which, who passed that sand save when the room changed before in the research lab? Okay,
Just
Watts
me.
doesn't need to do another roll. I do need a sand save from the other three because it's the same things happening here, except it's slow motion. Before it was just like a blink, right? Now you're just, as those pages were turning, you were seeing that happen. Arlo doesn't have to do it again.
Critical success.
The Major does need to add 1 stress.
I got to 15.
Does Arlo add a stress if Major didn't?
Yeah, when a nearby crew member fails to save.
Ah, you're
so-
deflated as well. Oh.
Frankie and Major, you're watching the walls changing. Arlo's flipping through the book. Watts and Arlo are arguing. Watts is trying to take the pen away from Arlo as he's trying to write into his book.
Does it still continue, or did the change stop midway
It
through?
stopped
or-
when the pages stopped turning.
Frankie, being closer to the 2, is going to slap the book together in Arlo's hands. I got the right person. And I'm going to start trying to push these guys out this room.
You don't have to push me. I'm leaving.
Yeah, I'm trying to hang on to the desk. I'm being extremely stubborn.
Oh, look, Dean needs help.
So is Frankie seeing situation where, a Major seeing situation where Frankie is pulling Arlo away from the table, who is like holding the table for his dear life, I guess holding the journal or the notebook or whatever in his other hand, while Mr. Watts is watching this unfold.
Yes, and
and
in fact,
walking
what
out.
happens, Major, is the camera kind of pans back. So for the first time, it was a bunch of quick cuts as the audience was just seeing all of the chaos that was ensuing. First, what Arlo was doing, and then Watts stops him from turning the pages. They start arguing. Frankie comes over, give me that, grabs the book out of Arlo's hand and tries to grab Arlo's hand to pull him away. Arlo immediately launches onto the desk so that he can't get pulled away from it. You're seeing all of this just like the audience, but what's different is the camera pans up slowly and the audience sees them. It is a version of these things that you have been fighting, except probably twice the size.
Big boys.
And in no way does this thing look human. In no way does it look like it ever was human. And we see from its long spiked head of the teeth from there, we see the drool start to drop as we cut to break. We'll be back in 10 minutes. So the camera follows this drool as it comes from this thing's mouth, and it's slow motion. We see it fall and drop onto the back of Arlo's hand that's gripped onto the desk. Speed rolls.
Yeah, right before that happens, Arlo is like screaming at, not screaming, but his voice is elevated at Frankie. Just give me the book.
All right. So it looks like
I had a 1.
the only one that failed is Frankie. So everybody gets to go before
I
this.
failed as well. I major
you
is on
did?
50 out of
Okay.
46.
All right. So that means that we've got Arlo and Watts going first, which is key. We see this drop, and luckily, both Arlo and Waits are the one closest to this desk. When this thing crashes down onto the desk, you guys are able to pull away. And this thing drops. The skin is kind of this ashen light gray, and it's taut on the structure of this monster. The feet, easily 2 foot, almost a meter long. Everything is thin. It almost looks like it's brittle. Each of the appendages, the legs, they bend backwards like a dog, is stretched thin. And despite the size of this thing, none of its appendages are more than this big around. The skin is sheer and clean. It almost has a shine to it. The hands end in these long claws that you're very familiar with. So they're not hands with claws coming out. They just come to this hard, sharp point. And the other versions of these creatures that were man-sized, you would see either the front or the back of the head split open into this mounds of teeth. This thing has this elongated head with a grin that goes across, and it just opens up, and just this bellowing scream comes out.
Which direction is it looking?
It falls, and it's facing you and Watts.
Okay.
Does Arlo need to make a sanity save?
That's right. Known enemy.
Oh, no way.
Thanks.
Oh,
You did
yes.
it.
I was going to make you panic on that one too. So good one. You do need fear saves from the other 3 of you, though.
At disadvantage. Because
Yeah.
I'm present.
Just shut up.
I'm helpful.
Oh, yeah.
I'll help you remember.
Oh, I almost had it.
Watts, you didn't do it. No, that was. You didn't have to do it, Watts. I covered you on the sand save.
Oh,
All right. So, or no, that was Waits. So I did need it for Watts. It was at.
yeah.
Oh, you're not at disadvantage though. So you succeed. Major fails, and Bill Foy fails. Major, what's your stress right now?
15.
Okay, roll higher than a 15 for me on a d20.
So I go up 2 now.
Do I press the stress, or I will just roll d20?
Try the stress. Yeah. Okay, you get doomed, which is.
It's in the menu, right?
Yep. Gain a new condition. You feel cursed and unlucky. All critical successes are instead critical failures.
Yeah, I guess I got out of that one quite cheap.
Need a panic roll
I don't
from you
know,
as
that one's
well.
rough.
Just hit stress. What do you need?
17.
Oh, when does
Katonic?
when does the panic triggers? Because I have this whenever you panic.
Oh,
Is that panic is the failed fear check? I don't know I don't remember.
Yeah, it was a result of you failing the fear.
So when I felt fear and I panic, so it triggers the trauma response. Whenever you panic, every nearby friendly player must take a fear check because Marion panics.
Okay.
that's fair.
All right. So Frankie, I need you to become unresponsive, unmoving for 2d10 minutes.
No,
Oh,
What?
Oh,
That's 415.
All right, so for 6 minutes,
Six.
Frankie is catatonic, but you get to reduce your stress by 1d10.
oh,
Look at that, huh?
that's something.
Drop your stress by 6.
That's pretty good.
I need
I guess you're not stressed when you're dead, so
2 fresh fear saves because the major panicked. Not from Frankie, though. He's fine.
Arlo with the rolls today.
So this thing crashes down. The desk breaks. This thing looms twice as tall as any of you. And it's thin, long. Everything is thin and long. Its teeth, its head, its claws, its feet. The wood shatters from the desk itself. Both Arlo and Watts head back. Frankie is there. Major is there. Everybody is kind of freaking out, but who's really freaking out is Frankie. So Frankie, the thing crashes down. How do you become catatonic?
Maybe his adrenaline just dropped and he wasn't prepared for that, and it just shocked the hell out of him. Like, this is much larger than and much scarier than originally planned. I can't handle this. What am I going to do? What am I going to do? And starts going through all the bullying and stuff that happened to him in high school, and just freezes.
All right, so we did the speed tests. Who passed? It was Arlo and Watch. You get to go first.
Is Frankie within arm's reach?
Sure.
Okay, so Arlo says, "Give me the book."
Oh,
and,
Jesus.
and reaches for it and grabs it out of unmoving Frankie's hands.
You rip the book out from his hands. You get one more action.
Skip to the end. Maybe the thing dies.
I open it up and I flip to the beginning, hoping that he doesn't exist anymore.
So you flip to the beginning, and pages that were there are not there anymore. They're torn out. Coda, thanks for the gift sub, man. The pages that were there are now torn out, and it's pure chaos at Arlo as you look now. And like, you went to the beginning of the book, right? And those pages were there. You now go to the beginning of the book. The pages are not there. And about 15 pages in is a page you saw before, and it was all scratched and squiggled and I'm sorry was written all over the place. Now it's illegible. It's been written over so many times. So it's gotten even worse than the last time you saw it.
Okay, so as I'm flipping through, I'm slowly stepping backwards as the realization is coming into play, realizing that I have no control here, and I can't do anything. Do I have an attack action at this point, or was that kind of both?
No, I think that was a full round right there.
That's
Watts?
fair.
I'm getting out that rigging gun. I'm gonna
this is the day.
harpoon this thing to the wall right
Okay,
now.
you draw the gun.
Just watch me. In 1 second.
Please nail him to
Oh,
the
so
gun.
close.
Oh,
Did you miss?
Yeah, it's 48.
by
to 41.
7.
So crashes down. Arlo grabs the book out of Frankie, who's just kind of like walking backwards slowly and doesn't even fight Arlo. Arlo's flipping through the book. Watts draws this thing. The harpoon goes flying past this thing. And it actually, I'm going to give you this, Watts. It was headed directly for its head, and it just swipes up with its claws, and it veers off and hits the other side of the wall.
Does it stick?
It does. Let's have it stick
Okay.
at the other side.
Go ahead.
You
Craig
contemplating
deciding who he
killing
wants
a
to
second
kill.
of my character?
Yeah. All right. I know the numbers 1 through 4.
Which one is Dean?
Through all of this chaos. Oh no, poor Dean. Leave Dean. Okay. This thing has some level of threat assessment. So as this shatters through, the harpoon goes flying by it, and its claw comes across, sweeping across the room. I need a body save, Major.
I have exactly 13 health. So I need this.
How many wounds do you have left?
3 still.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Barely. I failed horribly.
You did fail. So let's, all right, let's go down to that table. Where is it?
He basically clocks me.
So you're gonna lose a wound. Go back up to your full health.
1, 2, 2.
And this is going to be a bleeding. So roll a d10 for me.
There you go. I hope that's a good one.
Lots of
so.
blood. Those nearby gain 1 stress. So everybody gain a stress that's near the major. This thing and you also gain a stress because you failed to save major. This thing slashes. You're trying to pull back. You pull the gun out of its range, and it slices up against you. I assume your armor's toast.
Yes, my armor is toast.
And the shatters of his armor as it makes you fall back. Major and Frankie, Major gets to go.
We need Major will just shout, pull out. I guess pull out his vibe chatty, just shout, we need to get out of here. We need to run immediately. And tries to slash the monster a few times with the vibe chatty.
With the vibe chatty, okay. Let's give me a D100.
Yeah.
What's your
D100.
target?
76. No, D100.
That is a success. He was going to roll his instinct save. Vibe comes across. This thing pulls back and claws back. It's got some of your blood on it, on the claws as it pulls back. We go back to the top. Watson, Arlo, who's going?
Sure, Arlo will go. He pockets the book and reaches for his stun baton.
You can't pocket. This is a big book. There's no pocketing this book.
Okay, I do one of these with the book, and with the other hand, I stun baton. At this point, this thing is kind of turned away from me because Major was on the other side of the room.
Correct.
So I'm aiming for a leg at this
Got
point.
You should be able to do it from the stun baton. If it doesn't work, give me a D100.
Yep, it did not work.
Something must have happened in the module since I messed up the melee weapons. I'll fix it someday. What's your combat?
34.
All right. So you launch the stun baton and fall short. You don't hit the leg itself. Watts?
Remind me, did Major give me the flare gun back when they got back from rescuing Dean?
Sure.
Yeah, I don't have it. Yeah.
I do not have it either. So can we get that on my sheets? And I guess
Give me 1 second.
if combat doesn't work anyway, but
no, it should work for the flare gun. I think it's just the close combat stuff that's not.
Oh, okay.
Let me open this up. Let's get flare gun.
Barbecue time, hopefully.
I wouldn't get your hopes up.
Should be there now.
I do see it now. Three damage. Fire damage.
You go boom, you lock it in, aim the flare gun at this thing, you fire. It's going to do its instinct save.
Yeah.
And the flare goes, lights up the whole room in red. It's almost blinding as the flare goes past its head and hits the other side of the wall, and you see it just explode in flames on the side of the wall. It's not something that catches anything on fire, right? It's just a flare. But the whole room now has got just this eerie red hue as we see the flare start to go down. This thing's going to take another swipe at the Major.
Bring it. Or not.
Body save.
Body save. Oh. Brings
right,
me
so-
to 7
That's going to be 8 damage.
from 15 to 7.
Oh, and a wound. I should have done that last time. This thing does a wound damage as well.
So I'm on my last wound or on 0 wounds
So
and
you
7
had
health.
2 before, right?
I was starting at 3. So
Yep.
you clocked me to 0 health, went down to 2.
Yep. So now you're going to be down to 1.
And 7 health then.
Yep. Give me a 1d10 on bleeding.
That's a 4.
Okay, major cut, bleeding +2. So each round you're going to lose 2 health.
Oh.
Until it's treated. So this thing has swung twice now at the major. It's cutting up against, slashing against his chest. Now there's just blood coming all across his chest. It doesn't take a genius, even though none of you may not be one, to figure out you are like, this is a bad situation. So I've got Frankie, I've got the major going. Frankie, you got about another 4 minutes before you're not catatonic.
Yeah, we can't
So,
exactly
Out
leave.
of here. We're in a
Can't
room
we?
with one
We can-
door.
Well, with 2 immobile crew members.
No, agreed.
I mean, Major. Okay, but Major got hit bad. He's running for the door, definitely trying to grab Dean on the way. I guess Dean was not going deep into the room. He would be close by the door, and
He is collapsed
tries-
to the ground. Yeah.
yeah. So he's just Major is basically holding almost his guts in from all the gashes and just holding his stomach. With his other hand, tries to pick up Dean and just basically forces him out of the door and tries to run.
For your 2 actions, I'm good with you grabbing Dean and getting you guys. Both of you are on the other side of the threshold.
Yeah, okay, let's do this.
All right, Frankie would have gone. We go back to the top of the order. Arlo and Watts.
I'm going to say, Arlo, get Frankie out of here and step kind of in front of the some kind of alpha gaunt, if I had to put a name on it.
I don't know where you got that from.
And I'll try with the old vibe shetty. See if that does it. But basically, like,
Sword
not.
Master Watts takes a swing with his Vibechetti.
Yeah, it worked once. Oh wait, this doesn't work, does it? Will it work? No, it won't. Okay. Combat 41.
Oh, you missed it by 1.
Mm-hmm.
Arlo?
Yeah, get Frankie out of here. Piece of cake. I kind of clumsily barrel roll into Frankie, hopefully trying to get us both towards the door, kind of wake him up a little bit.
So maybe Pee-wee football, all of that Pee-wee football works. You just put a shoulder into Frankie and just knock him. Frankie, you get knocked, and then that makes you kind of lose your balance, not enough to fall. And Arlo just starts pushing you out the door, just taking the momentum of the football shove that he gave you. Arlo gets him out there. The only thing there now is Watts.
Oh.
This thing, it takes a swing at you, Watts. How does it miss you?
It's just in awe of my bravery that it's just like, I never expected this. No, it's probably just all the people moving around, and I don't know where its eyes are. Maybe its eyes are on the side of its head. No, that's more of a
There's no
prey
visible
animal
eyes.
thing. Well, with all the commotion and people moving around, it just gets target confusion and like changes its mind on who it's swiping at, like mid swipe.
So I want to add one thing to this, if it's okay with you. If it's not, just say no, Craig, that's not what would happen. I think for the first time, we all see a slightly inhuman reflex from Watts.
Oh yeah.
Right, where Watts just pulls back in a very like what the as this thing swipes and just the claw comes past him. So between the distraction that you described and just these inhuman reflexes that we have yet to see before, Watts is able to dodge that. We go to down to you, Major. You're outside with D.
I'm going down the presumable path where we should go, I guess down, and I will try to use one stim pack.
Stim pack yourself.
So that was 2d10, right?
Yep.
Those things are addictive.
Yeah, I guess I will be addicted. So brings
Very
me
nice.
back to maximum, -2, I guess, for the bleeding.
Yep. So you still have the 1 wound, and you're still bleeding
I'm-
2.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got 1 wound left. You're just dragging Dean down the hallway, right? And you hit
Yeah.
the ramp and you start going down the ramp, which leads to this thing. That's going to be the Major. Frankie, give me a body save.
All right.
Critical.
This gets you cleared headed. All of the screaming, the Arlo physically pushing you out, and you get slammed into the other side of the hallway that's across from the door. And you can act. You're not catatonic anymore. Nice credit.
Oh, hell yeah. How far is Watts from me?
Watts
I-
is still in the room. He's got his back to you. He's probably good 10, 15 feet away.
I think Frankie coming, getting clear-headed and seeing the danger that Watts is in is going to try to rush in and yank him out as quickly as possible.
Okay, we're going to have you come in. We're going to have you grab the back of Watts. Watts, are you resisting? No. Okay, so he's going to yank you back, get you to the threshold. We go back up to the top. I've got Arlo just outside the door. We've got Watts at the threshold of the door getting yanked back by the back of his shirt.
I briefly look at the monster, turn to the Major, and also start booking it.
So you start hauling ass down the hallway, headed towards the ramp, and you're now matched up in evenly, without any question, be able to get to where the Major is very, very easily. Watts?
Yeah, with his head start, I'm gonna close the door as we leave the room, and if there's any like manual locking mechanism or
Like
any,
the small one.
well,
So it latches.
I close it.
It goes click.
Well, this guy doesn't have fingers, so he's not going to.
And he's really big, so
Watts, you're headed down the hallway. Hand comes through the door. So immediately the door shatters as this claw just bursts through it. And Frankie, you're right there, not within danger. You've already pushed your way yourself from the door, but it's pushed its way through the door. The door is still intact, except for where its hand has pushed its way through. So it's just kind of like The Shining. We just see the claw come right by your face. I assume you're booking ass.
Yeah. In D&D talk with double walk or whatever, but is there a way I could exit and toss a frag grenade over my shoulder?
You sure can.
And I'm the last one in this room, right? Because Major,
You're not in
down
the room
hall.
anymore. You went back out to the hallway because you
I'm the
yanked Watts out.
closest to the monster because everybody else has ran ahead of me.
Correct.
So yeah, I'm gonna book it, maybe half speed and toss that grenade over my shoulder.
Roll the frag at an advantage for me.
Advantage, and I got explosives.
I don't think that affects your frag grenades.
I wonder if my art skill would help.
I think it would. It's a good thing you picked that up, Arlo.
well, I didn't try to talk to it with linguistics. Next time.
Yeah, this just isn't doing. I'll just roll.
At advantage. What's your
10.
combat score?
It's 48 plus 20 right now.
Okay.
I'll just try to do
68.
it from there.
The 47 is going to do it. What's the damage on the frag grenade?
It is 1d5 wounds.
What?
1d5. 3 wounds.
Okay. 2 and 3. That is going to be 3 wounds, and that is going to go to fire and explosives. Give me a D10. We're going to give him 3 wounds. First D10 is a 4, 3rd degree burns. Next one, a 7, limb on fire, 2d10 damage per round, and a 3 shrapnel large burn. Go ahead and give me a 2d10 so I can see what the damage per round is.
Ooh.
It's going to take 10 damage per round. Okay. So Frankie, we see the grenade roll as the second claw comes from the bottom of the door, and just the entire door shatters with that second claw. It comes out. We see this thing work its way through the door as it steps out and just fills the hallway. And it's emaciated chest, and you see what is, I guess it's rib cage, and just this like, it looks like it's starved. You can see every bone, you can see every ridge as the skin is just pulled tight and shiny, and it stands there and just screams this bellowing scream as we dink, dink, boom. You guys head down the hallway. Double doors, electronic doors leading to what you can see now is the nuclear control center.
Is it following us or is it over? I'm not.
You don't know right now.
Can't say. Okay, I think it's Major with well, I'm not sure who's holding whom more at this moment, but with Major and Dean, when we reach the console, Major will just collapse by the console and just Mr. Watts, just arm it, Mr. Belfoy, if you would be so nice and find that APC so we can get the hell out of here. Just, I will try to pull myself together over here and just his back to the control panel or some.
You should address your bleeding.
So first you're going to try to get through the door, right? So you hit the button, open the door, everybody runs in. So let me describe what you see as you run into this. You've got this area with all of these consoles all lit up, very thick plexiglass windows that leads to a very large cavernous room on the other side. There's chairs set up for each station. You can see, Watts, to the right where this jury rigged panel has been set up, where you can see where wires have been pulled out, other keyboards and stuff have been set there. You know what that does. That's the timer. Looking at the window, and it wasn't visible when you saw it on the cameras, you realize that where the nuclear core should have been, it is not there anymore. And you can tell that they have pulled and set this off on a crane. So there's a crane that is now holding this nuclear core over this huge hole that has been dug below it. The wires are jury rigged coming in through the other side of the building from the opposite side of where this panel has been jury rigged. You can see the wires all leading up to the hand on the crane. Frankie, you're the last one to hit that door. As you slam the door, you see smoke at the end of the hallway at the very top of this thing, and you see the first claw break through the smoke, and it's on fire. And it's just as it's clawing its way down. Obviously hurt, not dead.
Is the crane suspending the core over the hole right now, or does it need to move? Okay. Well, I'll go take a look at that panel.
Is this door stronger than the lab's door up the
Oh yeah,
hallway?
this is a double like an airlock strength door.
Okay.
I assume you're hitting it to close it.
Oh yes, sorry.
Okay.
Sorry. Yeah.
Just
everybody, Dean and everybody, you're inside of here. Watch, you head over to this. What are we trying to do with the panel? What are we trying to figure out?
I'm just looking at how it's set up first and how much work is required to trigger it, and also what the maximum amount of time I can put on the timer is.
Let's do a little comp check.
A little compy? Okay. Where's
Little
my...
beep boop beep boop.
Let's beep some boops. How about hacking?
Great.
I'm better at that.
If it's not hacking, good vibe chatty.
37 to the 59. So Watts, you very quickly can figure out one, how to set the timer before the crane arm releases. And it looks like it can be set up to 2 hours. You also, yeah, I think that's it. I think just on that panel, that's what you pick up. So it would be very quick. You can do it right now with the hit of a button. You can set the timer for whatever you want the timer to be, and it's ready to go.
Yeah, I max out the timer, and then this is ready to activate whenever. I suggest we do it at the last possible second before we leave.
Klaxon alarms just start ringing through your ears as soon as Watts hits the button.
I do not start the timer.
Yellow siren lights go. What's that?
To be
I
clear,
think he wanted
I
to
am
wait.
not starting the timer.
I thought you said you hit the timer.
No, I
just
set it to the
announces.
maximum amount, and then
Okay,
I'm
no
saying
Klaxons then.
I'm
Guess
not
what-
going
guess
to
what?
hit
That's
it
gonna happen.
until we get the hell out of here.
Got it.
Do we know how to get to the APC that is supposed to get us to the ship? Do we know
Watts
where that's
does.
at?
Yeah.
Watts, how far of a walk hike is it to get down there?
Watts points to a panel on the ground.
It's right down there.
Okay.
You flip it open, Frankie. There's a ladder that heads down about 10 feet.
I'm not going by myself. I shine a flashlight in.
Darkness, but you can see the very bottom. Boom! You can hear this thing hit the door.
Major, I'm heading down. I'm climbing down to the APC.
So Frankie, you
Okay.
head down with your torchlight. You get down to the bottom, you shine it off, and you see this tunnel that Watts described. On the far right is an APC. Now, it is generations older than any APC that you've ever seen. And painted in this green goop that you are very familiar with now, dried on the side, it spells out last chance.
I'm going to get into it and do its systems check to make sure the damn thing runs.
You get to the door, you hit the button, the door slides open. There's a passenger side, a driver's side, and then there's the cargo where you hold the personnel in the back. There's a turret up top, a gun turret up top. You hop into the driver's side. You're looking around. There's no keys. Fuck it. You grab the top, you pull the visor down, the keys drop into your lap.
Insert
Never
start.
change
Does it-
humanity.
Does
It starts right up. Yep.
I radio somehow. I imagine we have comms still.
Boom! You guys hear it now, and you can see the door buckling.
Guys,
So,
APC
I
is
guess-
ready to go. It started. I got plenty of room. Start that timer. Get your asses down here now.
I'll go last.
Okay, Mr. Watts, let's go for it. Mr. Arlo, are you still with us? Let's go to the
Yeah.
APC.
At this point, I'm already on the ladder, very audibly questioning time distortions and nuclear cores and the combination thereof. So I'm just rambling at this point about
still have that book.
all the algorithm. Oh yeah, all the algorithms that I've combed over. Every little doubt Arlo has ever had is out in the open right now for everyone to hear.
Just leave the book closed for now.
Arlo slides
While the
down the
timer's
ladder.
on.
Major Watts, you're still up there.
Where's Dean?
He's assuming he's still in the room with you.
I'll get him down.
I push Dean. We go with Dean as well. I will try to be the last one too.
Well, I should be the last to activate this to give us every second that we need.
No, I thought you hit it and we were going together, basically.
Okay, I hit it.
Two of you get down. You guys load into the back of the APC. Is anybody going to the passenger side with Frankie?
I think Frankie is, while he's waiting for everybody to come down, he's jumping into that gunner seat just in case if a Alpha Gaunt comes down that ladder while people are loading up. And as soon as I see someone get in the driver's seat, it's started, ready to go, and I'm at the
Who's
gun.
driving?
Not Major. Major collapses down again. Like he's using his last strength to get to the APC actually.
It can't be
Okay, I
Dean.
guess I can drive.
So Watts runs to the driver's side, hops in. He's already got the motor running for you. The seat's a little warm.
Yeah.
Frankie's up into the gun turret. Arlo and the Major and Dean, get yourselves into the back.
Yeah, Arlo's just thankful
Yeah.
he's not the one driving.
Yeah, Major will try to address his bleeding. I guess it's still a thing actually.
Yep, you'll treat it while you're in there. No roll needed. The APC Watts hits the gas. The APC starts automatically. The headlights come up, flood this. This is obviously a constructed, built, carved tunnel. Based on the map, this tunnel is going to go for about 2 miles, and then it should be let out at the bottom of the cliff area. We do the montage as it drives. We see it cut back. We see the beast finally breaking through and the door just slamming and going up against the wall. And it searching around,
We should
tearing
close the
away at
hatch.
things, looking for the hatch. It's not able to fit into the hatch, but you see it just screaming. We cut back to it. Watts, as you're going, as anticipated, about 2 miles down, you see a huge cargo loading door and it's closed.
Any like mechanism on the APC to activate a remote open? All right, someone's gonna have to get out.
Garage door.
How close are we stopping to it?
Oh, right up to it.
As soon as you get close to it, it
Perfect.
And almost like G.I. Joe Rambo, just you pop out at the bottom of this cliff. It lands down way up ahead. You see a very large military style ship. The Defiance is written on the back or on the side of it. You guys drive to the Defiance. You're at the ship.
I'm gonna
Where's the
like
keys?
if there's a APC like loading dock on it, I'm going to go over to wherever. Okay, well wherever personnel would get on board the ship, I'm going as close to that as possible.
Okay, you're there.
Hello.
Uh,
Should we try comms?
Sure.
I'm gonna try comms.
you know, Frankie's in the turret. He's going to be able to see a lot more than the rest of the guys in the cab. Do I see any kind of personnel or people? Any signs of active live?
What
Human
you see
looking.
better than anybody, Frankie, is a few things. As best as you can tell, there's kind of this faint reddish sand that seems to be covering the ground. All the vegetation that you drove through on the APC is way past this. This is kind of transitioned into this almost desert-like sand, which you see declining away from here. And you imagine that at some point, this is familiar. Because one of the dreams you had was being on the edge of an ocean with the same sand. And you can almost in a flash see the red tinted water that was here at one point. Far off, you see skeletal remains of this Leviathan-sized snake monster. Just the white bones of it, about 2 miles ahead of you, but so large that you can see it from where you are. Looking at the Defiance, it looks fine. And maybe, you know, timeline wise in your timeline, so it hasn't like been here for 100 years. But the ramp on the back is closed. The access ladders leading up to the side access, the doors that lead up to those are also closed, but the ladders are down.
Gotcha.
So there
I
is a
think
ramp, it's just not down.
There is a ramp, it's just not down. Correct.
Okay. Yeah.
I lean down, let them know what I'm seeing, and guys, what do we want to do? Who wants to jump in? Do we all jump out? Do we leave someone here on the turret to protect the area? What are we doing?
Oh,
Can
we
I
need to
scan?
just leg it. I think we need to go for it and just go up the ladder and just get into the ship.
Affirmative.
Right.
With your health condition, I'll lead the path, Major. So I hop out. I immediately start crawling up that ladder to kind of get an eye of while the guys are getting out below.
You crawl up the ladder, you see the lever that can be yanked back, that's flush, but you put your fingers in and you can yank it back. The door to the Defiance opens up. It takes you into the cockpit. You come into the cockpit and you're not alone. There are two bodies in both seats, both the co-pilot and the pilot seat. The pilot seat, the chest has been torn open, dead, blood everywhere. You look over at the passenger side and you see the legs and hips, and that's it for whatever was sitting in the passenger side. Need a fear save.
Oh, shit.
Hey, I'm not
From
there.
everyone. Or just...
Frankie's the only one that sees it.
Okay.
42, add a stress for me, Frankie.
Okay.
What are you doing?
I'm going to look out and see if the guys have started crawling up that ladder yet.
Yep,
No,
they're
I'm
at the
not going
bottom
to
of the
toss
ladder.
up those. I'm not going to toss these bodies out there. I'm going to let them know, come on up, and I'm going to start pulling these bodies and trying to hide them so that I don't get.
There's
fear
not
saved
enough
from these
room.
guys.
The only thing that you may be able to potentially do is take what was the pilot at some point, and you might be able to lift that body and get it over onto the co-pilot's side so that you can get into the pilot's seat.
Okay, I'll do that. Let the guys know to come up, and I'll get in the pilot seat and try to flip buttons and knobs.
So the cockpit, there's not room for anybody else. So anybody coming up the ladder, there's going to be no place for them to go. You're going to need to open up the back.
Gotcha. Oh, I hear you now. Try to find a
Oh, I
hatch
thought
open.
I thought this was like a bridge. This is literally just okay.
Yeah. I'm going to try to find a switch that says
You find it. Boom. We hear
bay
the
door.
as the back ramp opens.
Oh, perfect.
The
All
3
right,
plus
get in,
1 head
guys.
around.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Bodies everywhere. All in these Defiance uniforms. Gore everywhere. Human gore, green gore. This entire compartment that's got the jump belts where people can sit for for bumpy rides. It's just absolute gore, and the smell when that opens is almost overwhelming.
Frankie, could you start the air filtration system, please?
Click. And I'm actively trying to start this thing. If there's any kind of procedures, if there's a 1,
Yep.
2, 3, 4
Flick,
switch.
flick. You get it started.
So, is there like an airlock on the ship where after we're like safely out of range, we could get these bodies and just dump them into space?
You sure can.
Okay, then we don't need to get them all off the ship now. We should probably just buckle up and get out of here.
Since it's
See-
more close quarters, Major will, I guess, limping with his Vibe Chetty, not the SMG, go in, poke the bodies here and there, try to find out if some of them will wake up or if there is this ugly cockroach thing. Just checking the room, if it's safe to sit there and survive the launch and potential escape.
Ship starts to lift off. Frankie, as you're flying this thing, several things. One, you check the jump drive and you see it's completely depleted. Somewhat expected, right? Based on everything that's been happening. As it lifts off, everybody in the back does not have a view, but you do. As you start to get some height, off to the far, far left, which would be the northeast, based on all of the travels you met, you see skyscrapers. Skyscraper-sized buildings, all made of this black, shiny onyx. And it's just littered and just populates the entire, would have been the beach area. The shapes, though, are odd. The buildings connect to each other. They go at angles. It's you can tell these are buildings. There's no windows or anything, but you see them as you lift up. Where are you headed?
I'm trying to. This is a ship that can go out of the atmosphere and get.
Oh, yeah, it's got a jump drive, right? It's a jump
Yeah,
drive is
all
of
right.
no use to you, but yeah.
I imagine I'm just going up. I'm trying to get as far away from this planet as possible before it blows up, or whatever we did with that nuke.
Yep. Ship takes off. We see it from the outside. We see as it makes its way through the atmosphere. We see it head towards Beggar's Moon. Cut back. The beast is just thrashing, just tearing into the consoles. And we see it hit its hand on the console that Watts set. The timer is 45 minutes. We see the sparks, the flare. We see the crane hand. As the core falls out of sight. You're outside, flying by Beggar's Moon. You get close enough, Frankie, to see something blew up the entire broken down ship area. You're close enough to see wherever that bunker was, at least a 50-mile radius is just, it's gone. Camera keeps very close to the Defiance as we see the redone special effects from George Lucas, the dead planet exploding. Very quickly, Frankie, you see as the jump drive recharges.
I'm hitting it. I'm assuming I know what to do. I'm trying to get as far away from here as possible. Is there some
Do you have
sort
any
of
computer skill, piloting skill, navigation skill?
no? I should probably. Question: am I at threat from the shockwave, Star Wars style?
You guys feel like you're far enough away.
Okay. Arlo, Watts, I need someone up here that can pilot this thing. Jump drives charging. We have a chance to get the hell out of here. One of you, I need your help up here.
I can do it. That was my job. But I want to propose that we expunge all of these bodies and remains before we leave this space, instead
enough.
of taking any of it back to civilization with us.
I am going to try to veer it. Well, I guess seeing what I saw on that moon, I'm not too worried about it. Worried about getting harpooned back in, but okay.
We have the cargo from Providence here still with the pilgrims, right? We better mark this area and potentially return for a rescue mission.
Where you are now, you are right around where the belt was, the belt of all of those derelict ships. And you can see that, where the Alexis is. You can see the Alexis there, but you don't see the ship, the tug ship you were on, nor the cargo, because remember, those were brought down to Beggar's Moon.
The cargo as well. Okay. Yeah. Anyhow, we just log this area. We are in no shape to rescue anyone in this ring, and just
Plus, those were moopers, and this is all our fault anyway.
Yeah. Forget
Dean,
that.
All right, so
I guess
I've
we're
got
going
Frankie up there.
home.
Who's coming up to help Frankie with navigation?
I will.
Okay, so Watts goes up front. Do I have the major moving the bodies to the airlock?
Yes.
What's Arlo doing?
Arlo found a quiet corner and is starting to open that book
Swear to
again
God, if you open that book.
comparing. He also has both of his journals out as well, because this is a big book. So inside of it, he's got the two journals open, just kind of comparing. And the only time you ever hear him speak up is when the major suggests coming back. He said, "Coming back," and that's it. That's he's just flipping through that book.
So we see a montage of the major getting these bodies in the airlock and spacing them. We see Watts working on the navigation for the jump drive. Watts tries to take his best guess. We were at point A. We were at Mars when we left. I know where we were headed. Maybe we're halfway, I don't know. And he programs in a pretty well-known colonial stopping point, essentially a place for jump ships to stop, refuel, bit of a just a kind of a nasty place full of scum and villainy. But Watts is your best guess. Maybe that's the best coordinates to pump in. So you push that in. Frankie's holding on to the steering wheel of this thing, piling it as we go. And we cut to a few scenes. We cut to Arlo in the corner, and he opens up Dr. Ortiz's book. And the pages are almost black with ink. And as you turn them, they kind of crumble in your hands, almost like they're hundreds of years old. And the book is just old, much older than the last time you looked at it. You pull your journals out, Arlo. Which one are we looking at first? Are we looking at the first one you found or the second one you found?
The second one.
So you pull out the second one. And if you remember, the second one had about a third of it filled out. And you open it up and you flip through the pages. And you can see where you had started studying the soil, looking at plants, breaking down the nutritional value of plant A versus plant B. And it looks like it took you, maybe you were there about 2 months based off of what is filled out on that second book.
But nothing appears to be changing or abnormal from last time. Okay, I do the same for the third book and just triple checking. I don't trust any journals at this point.
So you grab your first book, and if you remember, it was almost completely filled out, right, with all of these studies and charts and things like that. You open it up, and it looks really familiar because it looks a lot like Dr. Ortiz's book. The sketches, the drawings, the shapes, scribbles all over. Time means nothing. Just every page, just scribbled notes, sketches of these gaunt type creatures, sketches of portals on top of these towers. You get to the back, and there is a 2-page spread, and you don't know this, but the audience does, of the buildings of the city that Frankie saw on his way out. We cut back to the cockpit. Watts has gotten the bodies out. Major has spaced them. Watts puts in the coordinates. He's hitting the button. We see the jump drive start to go. Frankie tells everybody to buckle up. We start to see the Defiance as it moves into jump space. And as you're a half second from jumping, Watts and Frankie, you swear you can see the Providence coming out of jump with the cargo behind it as you jump away. Go to credits. We'll be back on the other side. So that was our take on Dead Planet. How are we feeling, Kyle? I don't care about Arlo, Watts, Frankie, or the Major anymore.
It's bittersweet. This means the ending. I don't like that. This is so much fun.
Yeah.
You nailed the ending. Like,
Oh, good.
yeah. Over the quick little break there, Nick had goosebumps. I don't think he was the only one. Yeah. No, I loved every little bit of it, and I'm sad to see it end. That was a great time.
How about for you, Vaslav?
I mean, the same. It started intensive this last session that we have, and it was just keeping me in the action. I thought that Major is gonna die for sure at one moment.
I did not think you were
I
making
mean,
it out.
yeah. So I was expecting like doing some Hail Mary to buy time for the group. Maybe that's something Major could do. But so there was all these options, and man, that was fun. Definitely, I enjoyed that.
DZ, do you feel like you have? Did I give you enough to give you a sense of maybe what the hell happened, or a sense of what's going on, or?
I don't know what happened.
Right.
And like I want to know more, but it's right now with the feeling of having like gotten like I as Watts made the conscious decision at a very explicit moment, like I don't care anymore. Let's just get out of here. And maybe I'm sacrificing knowing the full story. Maybe there's something else we could learn here, but I'd rather just get out.
Yeah.
And that was a moment for me as a player as well. Like it's like when you watch Event Horizon or you're playing Dead Space, uh two inspirations for this module, I think, where you don't really know what happened because some of it is unknowable to the characters and to just human perception. So I think we learned everything that we can, given that some of it is just going to be not understandable by us.
Headcanon is that we're to blame. Blowing up the planet set the loop.
Oh, stop.
Definitely.
How on earth would that start the loop?
I don't know. We're talking about time manipulation.
Jeff on Nick.
Oh my God, yeah. Just the roller coaster was fantastic, and the mix between styles of play. We got it all in this 11 session group. It was great. We got to RP so much. We got to fight when we needed to. We had to survive when we needed to. I thought it hit every note extremely well. So yeah, I had a blast. I mean, I'm definitely going to miss this every 2 week, kind of hoping to schedule and going, oh crap,
Well, and we've talked about this offline, and I hope the audience is excited to hear this. The four of you are coming back to play Mothership at some point, probably maybe in the summer. We'll try to kick that off. What we'll have to decide is whether it's these characters, or whether I'm also good with us starting with 4 new characters. I'm going to be using Rain of Blood, which those that have listened to the podcast, you heard me do the interview with the guy who wrote Rain of Blood. I'm very excited about that. Wait, have I released that yet, or did I just record it? No, I haven't released it yet. So I still to be released. He hasn't got the printed copies out yet. That's why. So I already know what module we're going to start off with on that. So other thing, McBluff has a question. I have a Warden question. Were you expecting Dean to go through all of this alongside them by the end? Poor kid was so tired. So a lot happened here, and I feel like almost, I don't know whether I don't know. Like I could spend the next hour and a half telling you everything from the Warden's seat of what happened. I guess I'll give you a couple highlights. The Alexis I ran pretty much as is. So when you go in and read Dead Planet, I didn't do much with the Alexis. That's pretty close. In Dead Planet, there's the harpoon is just a harpoon gun that like they harpoon the ship and they bring it down to Beggar's Moon. It didn't make a whole lot of sense to me. That's why I created the Screamers, which is these, basically these harpoons that are populated, right? They have pilots and it shoots these guys into space. That I thought was more interesting, exciting. I also wanted to do that because I had 2 players on the Alexis and 2 players on the Providence, and there was no threat or danger on the Providence, and that needed to stop. I needed to step on you guys too. So that also led to me coming up with the idea of the Screamers and these guys showing up on there so that I could have pressure at both locations.
Totally agree with that.
Yeah, so that was one of the early decisions. Beggar's Moon was very similar to As Written, except I added the religion piece. So the entire concept of the religion, the brother, the sister, all of that was mine, that I added to it. Just because I'd spent some time thinking about, this is almost 2 generations worth of these people living on this moon. And like, I think there had to have been a religion involved in order to have kept order, to kept things. And, the cannibalism was always there, but like I had to make the cannibalism make sense within the religion. I wanted the religion to drive the cannibalism. So that's where, if you go in and read Dead Planet, the whole concept of the religious stuff is all I added that in. So you guys get down to the Dead Planet, and there's several locations that you can get to on the Dead Planet. You guys ended up to the Red Tower first, but there's a whole section about this city, this lost city. There's different locations on here. I started running the Red Tower as is. And what got really interesting is that Ian Newsom, who has written several great modules for Mothership, I do know I released that interview with Ian because we did it in conjunction with his release of Hull Breach. I think the favorite thing I've ever read of Ian's, and Ian's stuff is really, really good, but my favorite thing is a little thing you can get on his itch.io called Nightmares to Find. And it's a random table of just shit people can find. Like if they say, I'm going to search the room. And so stuff that came from that was like the handheld printer, if you remember that. The used syringe that Arlo pricked his finger on came from that. The credit stick that had your name on it, that came from that, if you remember that. The big thing, though, was the picture came from Nightmares. It's not part of Dead Planet. And that's when the whole thing took a right turn. Because of how Nick reacted. And how all of you were just like, what the fuck? And the way I watched all 4 of you latch on to that, I was like, yeah, this can't be just a random table throwaway. And that's when the time stuff came in. So all of the time stuff is all because of that random table from that thing. But it worked for me. Like I was able to, like it made sense to me. And I think it actually made things like really fucked up. And, so then I added Arlo's diary. That was not a random thing. I put that there purposely. In my mind, of the 4 of you, it would be Arlo that would go the deepest. Arlo was the one that kept the relic. So in my mind, Arlo loses it in probably multiple timelines. So I kind of set that seed there. The Arlo killing Watts thing, that was completely improv at the moment. It just came out of my mouth and I loved it. So that became
brilliant. That's great.
Originally, those soldiers were not going to be beasts, but I wanted to keep you guys isolated. And so I was like, fuck it, they're beasts. So they became beasts. But what I loved about it is, again, watching you guys latch on, I realized that, and this is just a quick tip for GMs. Throw shit in the water, right? And watch what your players grab onto and then follow them. And I mean, I just like, all right, you know what? I don't want these guys to be just soldiers on the Defiance. They're going to be creatures, right? So we had this great scene with Dean and, they turn into monsters and this huge gore fest. And then I hear you guys latch onto like, what are these things? Are they mimics? Are they like, you guys latched onto it? Like they're stuff I didn't even think about, right? Like, yeah, the first ones didn't talk. These did, right? So And so it's like, all right, let's follow that. Let's make this even more complicated, you know? And I don't know. I learned a lot running this. I learned a lot. And what I learned the most was listen to the table and follow the table. And I would end every session going, okay. And I have a notebook where I would say, these are the new truths. Here's my old truths. What's next? It's not what I thought was going to be next. And how do I piece this together? And something that's nice about, horrors, you don't have to explain it all. Some of it can never make sense, and that's okay. But you have to be careful you don't frustrate your players. And that's why I think checking in with them at the end of every session, and that's why I'm now a huge fan of the Stars and Wishes things. That allowed me to kind of get your guys' temperature. We also did a lot of chatting, in the group chat. And that was my one concern is if I just keep confusing things, if I just keep adding more mysteries, at some point the players, not the characters, are just like, fuck this, like, but hopefully that didn't happen.
What was your moment after describing this? Like when you said, "Oh shit, I didn't expect that, but I loved it." Like what was where you described a few pieces where you had to improv, but what was the moment that you didn't prep for it? Maybe these times happens, but you liked how maybe it made sense or how the situation went on.
Oddly enough, I really liked the confrontation on Beggar's Moon with the bully. The fact that just went to shit as fast as it did just kind of happened. And I was like, that Beggar's Moon's can be shorter than I thought it was. And I was like, okay, we spent enough time here. And yeah, I mean, when that happens, they have to GTFO, right? You guys need to get out after that. So that was a surprise for me. It was just really interesting watching what you latched onto. And I think obviously the big one was the picture. I mean, I did the picture thing and we cut to it. There was a discussion afterwards and I watched all of you just gnaw on the picture. And then in chat afterwards, you guys were just gnawed on it. I'm like, all right, we got to follow this. And I can't just let this be a throwaway. If I don't explain this or build the world around this picture, then I'm going to lose the table. And I'm really glad I did. I don't know. You guys were just such a great table. Just so good. And the level of RP that all of you did was phenomenal. And like by session 3 or 4, we were just having a really good time. Just having a lot of fun. And I'm proud of these 11 episodes. I think you guys should be too.
Yeah, you ran a great game.
This was fun.
It
was a good table. It was a good table. For those of you that are watching this live, you've watched 11 of these and I appreciate it. Mothership will be back. Like I said, it'll be with these 4 guys. We'll just see whether it's Watts, Frankie, Arlo, and the Major, or if it's 4 new characters. I'll be anxious to see as the 4 of them debate it. Special thanks to Tuesday Night Games for making such a great game. I can't wait to get the Kickstarter. I appreciate them putting out PDFs. Don't wait. Go ahead and pick up version 0 and grab it. And then all of the other standard stuff. But most importantly, especially if you're watching this recorded, you made it all the way through. So I appreciate it. Stay tuned. We'll be back. Take care, everybody. Howdy, friends. Thank you for watching. All our content is archived and organized in playlists on the Third Floor Wars YouTube channel. Check it out. And if you could like, follow, subscribe, and even set your notifications to this channel on YouTube and Twitch, we'd appreciate it, and it'll make sure that you catch all of our content. I talk with creators, designers, and experts across the gaming landscape in every episode of our podcast, Tabletop Talk. Open up your favorite podcatcher and search for Tabletop Talk from Third Floor Wars. Support your creators. They make the content you love, and it's your support that makes it happen. If you want to help us, go to Third Floor Wars on patreon.com, and you can help us for as little as $1 a month. Thanks again. We'll see you next time. Take care.